give me a point. Good Christmas morning to you. It's Walter Parks coming live from St. Louis, Missouri, and it's it's something I do every Sunday when I'm not on the road or not in some sort of a deep creative chasm where I don't want to be talking to people or have a list of things to do. I think we all get that way every now and then. We just have to go back to the well and work on what it is we offer the world, and that's the challenge for me. Is I work on this stuff a little bit and I bring it to y'all or bring it to the stage. But what I do here with the Hymns and Holler show is it's a little bit of a workshop. I hear it said sometimes that you should never present yourself sort of in bits and pieces, and but I'm willing to do that on Sunday mornings to lay bare my creative process. And this stuff is ongoing for me. This for the last 13 years I've learned written out a new Christmas song each year. So now that I've got a sort of a body of work per se, now I have to learn to play this stuff. And in my opinion, these arrangements are very beautiful. They're sort of constructed for the electric guitar, but originally meant for piano, and that's a fascination of mine. Joy to the World, for instance. Do y'all hear the organ music in those chords? You hear that power? I mean, I just I can just hear, I can feel that organ, that those pipes just kind of shaking tumultuously to remind the congregation of the power of the Lord. And it's so fearful and ominous that a lot of people don't bother to go in those churches. And I think they that attempt to impress and intimidate people actually has maybe gone a little too overboard. But and what I mean by that is that I was brought up in a certain way, almost on the church model. Do what I say and do not question what I say. My father would always say, do it because I say do it. And that's kind of, to me, that's the church model. This is the Christian model of the Lord says it, the Bible says it, so it must be true. Do not question it. But I'm a little bit partial to the Jewish approach in one sense. Is like it's okay to doubt, because what happens when you doubt and you question, that's not necessarily the subtext. Doubting and question is not necessarily saying, well, I'm assuming you don't know what you're talking about, so I'm going to ask you a question. It's the subtext to it is that I want to become more intelligent myself. I want to learn more. So there's a little bit of filling the logical gaps that I need your help with. So I come to you, my teacher, who knows more than me, and I want you to fill in these gaps and make it all make sense for me. So I prefer that model, and I was just always upset when my father said, do it because I say do it. But the tradition of this music carries forth for years. For instance, Joy to the World was written by a composer who lived from 1685 to 1759, Handel. And so this music is just, it carries with it that power from the way back when. But I think it's okay to say, what's really going on here? And anyway, Joy to the World was the first song. And in the bleak midwinter, which we're in St. Louis, and this is the bleak beginning of the winter. So who needs the midwinter when the beginning is this bleak? Thank you, Marco. And I appreciate that. And would you mind that my phone keeps giving me little dings. There's nothing more irritating than a phone that dings. But the problem with me is that if it doesn't ding, then I don't return calls. I don't even know they're there. Let me have a morning cup of coffee, and I hope you take the second to do the same. My name is Walter Parks. I'm coming to you from St. Louis. This is a regular Sunday show called Hymns and Hollers. We question spiritual issues together, and I welcome you to call in and throw your hat in the ring. And that's what this is. It's kind of a ring. Sometimes people write in and they say, you are against the Lord. We don't know if you're against the Lord or for him. And number one, I'm happy that you're watching me. I appreciate that. I'm happy that I'm stirring up that interest in you, and I'm stirring up the question. We don't know if you're against the Lord or with him. And I'm not even going to entertain answering that concept. I will do it in dribs and drabs throughout the show. Here's one that I wasn't planning to do, but it looks good on the page. I did it last year during the ceremony or service for Christmas Eve, and it's one that was sung in the 60s by Mahalia Jackson, and this may be the only one I sing today. I'm not sure, but let's see what happens. I'm going to go for a different sound. Hold on, this is live radio here. Oh. Yeah, I like that kind of electronic thing coming in. Can y'all feel that? Picturing that cold night. In the desert. In Canaan land. I'm on my way to Canaan land. My way to Canaan land. I'm on my way to Canaan land. I'm on my way. Hallelujah. On my way. Might have a hard time. Had a mighty hard time. But I'm on my way. Had a mighty hard time, but I'm on my I'm falling and rising, but I'm on my way. I'm falling and rising, but I'm on my way. Some say I ain't on my own. Oh, but I'm on my way. I'm walking the footsteps on my way. It's a spooky sound, isn't it? I found this little arpeggiator device that would take what I play and turn it into something that kind of sounds like Pete Townsend's synthesizer. And I went looking for it. You know, I had this sound in my head, and I found it at a convention out in L.A. But I looked all over the convention center trying to find this, and there were all these loads of young people at the Moog synthesizer booth, just kind of working on what they call sound modules, and they're generating all these basically some people call it noise, but they don't mean that in a demeaning way. They're changing the noise, and everybody's so entranced with this that kind of a thing. There's just 50 guys with headsets just manipulating the sound waves and so on. And I knew what I wanted. I wanted something that would marry the organic, the guitar, my fingers, what I could conceive of in the moment. I wanted to marry that with technology, and it was just nowhere to be found. And then one kind of nerdy guy said, check out this booth. There's some guys over in Akron, Ohio doing something. And it's called Earthquaker Devices. They even have their own street. Margot and I went by there. And it's a really cool bunch of guys. And so I love their work. Earthquaker Devices, check them out. Really good stuff. Let's try this one. It's a real tricky one. Once again, Walter Parks, Hymns and Hollers show. It sounds like the 60s or something. We've all had to become production experts. It's really funny how the internet has turned us back towards TV in a certain sense. And now we're all TV producers. And I was looking online recently, something came over my Facebook feed about how you can have 5 cameras in your house, and there's this big controller that's as big as an office desk, and with your foot you can control all this stuff on the desk and go from camera 1 to camera 5, and I'm thinking they don't get it. They don't get it. And I haven't gotten it for years. And I'm sharing this with you because this stuff is an abyss. It's a vortex. The more time we spend fiddling with how to connect instead of connecting. And what I mean by that is that there's no surer way for me to connect than to keep my skills up on this instrument. I have to keep my craft at the top of the priority list. And I fail at that sometimes. And I know we all fail at that. Are we writing? Or are we thinking about writing? Are we taking pictures? Or are we talking about taking pictures? Are we making music? Or are we talking about making music? Or worse yet, are we imagining making music? And I say all the time that there's a thin line between a vivid imagination, an artistic imagination, and delusions of grandeur. And you got to really know that you're walking that razor's edge and stay in touch with keeping this thing in your hand and doing your work, whatever your tool may be. I don't like the way that sounds. Hold on. That's because it's sharp. There's a buzz to my guitar, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's old electricity in this building. But that's not really the culprit. Watch this. This is what they call a single coil pickup. In the old days, this pickup was made in 1949. This is a 53 guitar. They just wrapped about 5,000 to 7,000 wrappings of wire, thin wire, around a magnet. One magnet, one continuous piece of wire. Now, maybe you can hear this. Yeah, see, right in there, it's sort of the sweet spot. There's a buzz, but it's really diminished. The problem is I can't play like that. There's an axis that you can find in every room, and then there's perfectly no buzz with these old pickups. But what if the audience is right there? I can't play this way. And so I just have to live with it. But once I get playing, you don't hear that. So they corrected that with these kind of pickups. Look at here. This is just a moment to geek out. This is a guitar that I have these guilds. This is what they call a humbucker. So it bucks the hum. And there are two coils in each pickup, in a humbucking pickup, and going in opposite directions. I just love that about it. That's just basic magnetism. And but some people, like myself, think that nothing sounds as good as these old original pickups. So y'all judge for yourself. powerless bum bum bum. Listen to that bass line. Woo! Hardly anybody, when they're arranging for the guitar, just plays on the lowest three strings. But I'm trying to sort of simulate the power and the threat of those pipe organs, and this is great fun. I mean, I take these old arrangements, and I can barely read them. I find them in libraries and so on. Sometimes I don't even know that some of this stuff has been digitized, but most of it I find online. But it's the oldest arrangement I can get, and then try to convert them to guitar. So most of the work's just writing it out in a just figuring out what the chords are. First of all, if you've got, I don't know, something like this, that's, guitar players don't know what that is normally. And I have to figure out, oh, well, okay, that's just a weird inversion of a G chord. Okay, it's a G chord. Now that I know it's a G chord, and I'm at home. But so much of it is just translating it to the guitar. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's geeky as heck. But gosh, and this leads me to this lifelong problem of just, is this a good use of my time on this planet? Spending hours and hours and hours playing something like this. Silent Night. I have no idea when that was written. But I will say, I figured out another aspect of the power of stories. My good friend James Nave has a pursuit with his partner Allegra Houston, and they do this. It's an adventure. It's an adventure of stories and trying to bring out of us what we don't know already. And it's like a bravery. It's all propelled on faith. And I'm not talking about religious faith. It's faith in yourself and faith in your creative instincts and your creative genetic predisposition, I think. In other words, the concept is that creativity is there to be enjoyed. But Nave has inspired me to look into the import of stories. And I did that in this Christmas project. And I realized that a song like Silent Night, you know, when I was a kid, I thought that was the actual soundtrack to the Nativity. You know, assuming that Jesus was born in a manger and Mary gave birth to him through some virginal miracle and so on, and that these three kings came to the manger and celebrated, and the Magi brought him gifts and all of these sorts of things. There was a big star, and it was cold outside, and there were camels everywhere. I thought they were like, these guys were walking around and they were hearing this music in their heads. I mean, that's how embedded, how embossed into my concept of the story these songs are. And I never questioned that those three wise men, possibly didn't exist. That's not the point here. The point is that I just never questioned that they didn't. It's as if they were walking around with little headsets in their mind. Like they were hearing this song when all of this was going on. You get what I'm saying? And then I just realized, wow, the story of the Nativity, for me, is more a story I understand because of the lyrics of these songs and not so much because of anything I might have read in the Bible. It might have been told to me by my Sunday school teachers or whatever. It's because of these songs. And so when we write a song is serving as the soundtrack to our life at that moment. And it serves other people as they move through their life. And it's a fascinating little process of transportation. My name is Walter Parks. This is Hymns and Hollers. You can join me every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Jacksonville, Florida Standard Time. And I hope you do join me. And most importantly, I hope you visit my website, walterparks.com. I've got CDs. I occasionally go out and tour. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're almost at 1,000 hits, and apparently these great things happen to you when you get 1,000 hits. There's an angel that comes down from the sky and visits you. I hear that Elon Musk comes to your front door, personal visit, when I get 1,000 hits, I don't know that he cares that much about. I didn't think he cared that much about YouTube, but he will come to my front door and just congratulate me on my 1,000 hits. So I can't wait to meet the guy. I'm grateful for him. Instead of "Oh come, Elon," let's do "Oh come, Emmanuel" for this one. Ooh, wrong tuning. Hold on. And I checked, and I made an assumption. I want to point something out to you about assumptions right there. Because I checked, I thought I was right. But the reason I proceeded is because I checked. Not because I checked and I found myself to be not prepared. I just checked and I thought, well, okay, I'm good to go. I checked. It's like a pilot going, well, I looked at the gas gauge, so we're good to go. And then you take off and you go, damn, this thing's on empty. Well, I checked. That's exactly what I just did. So don't just check. Be mindful of what you're doing. Again, my friend Nave says he talks to himself. And I said, you talk to yourself? How old are you? He says, well, I'm around 70. I said, well, see, that's what happens. People start talking to this. He says, no. I would tell myself what I'm doing aloud. I say, I'm putting my keys in my right pocket, and he never loses his keys. So when I check, I'm going to check right now. Watch me check. I'm pressing my tuner. This needs to be an E. And praise Jesus, it's an E. It's a pretty version. I'm proud of that. That's one of the first ones I wrote out, and it's just that was the first old carol that I wrote out. And when was that written? Come Emmanuel. Did I write that down? Wow, yes. This is 15th century France. That's how long we've all been playing this song and how long we've all been hearing it. 15th century, so that means the 1400s when Columbus came over and discovered this place. It was not here before Columbus came. He came and said, oh my gosh, look at this place. We can do a lot with this. And nobody was here. It's amazing. Yeah, he was the first person here. And I'm kidding. Good Lord, please don't go ahead and start a movement against me. Happy Christmas, happy season to you. My name is Walter Parks. This is Hymns and Hollers. I am rearranging and reconceptualizing some of the, in my opinion, great Christmas carols. And I love these things. They mean so much to us. The lyrics notwithstanding, that's why I'm really not singing many of them, because there's power written into the music, the power that was felt by the people who were writing about the nativity, writing about the birth, writing about the angels and all of that stuff. Again, when I was a child, I thought this stuff was just being played through the loudspeakers out there in the manger way back when. And I thought they were hearing all of this stuff. It was the soundtrack, almost as if it was a motion picture. But here we are, and these songs are written to celebrate a story. They're written to give continuation to a story. And sometimes a modern song will borrow from a biblical context. And if that biblical context is maybe mixed with a little bit of mind and altering substances, you come out with something like this. Angel came down from heaven yesterday. Silhouetted against the child sunrise, and she told me a story yesterday about the sweet love between the moon and the deep blue sea. Yes, I know I missed a word. Take my hand, you're gonna be my man, you're gonna fly. Then she coming back, she said she coming back tomorrow. Oh, fly on my sweet angel, fly on through the sky. Tomorrow I'm gonna be by your side. Sure enough, that morning came to me, silhouetted against the child sunrise. Oh, and an angel said unto me, today is the day that you're gonna fly. Take my hand, you're gonna be my man, you're gonna fly. And then she fly over yonder. She said, fly on my sweet angel, fly on through the sky, fly on my sweet angel. Tomorrow I'm gonna be by your side. Beautiful song, borrowed, in my opinion, from a combination of biblical imagery and maybe a little psychedelica. Angel by Jimi Hendrix, interpreted by me. It's tricky to take a song like that that's kind of done in the rock and roll tradition of just a lot of bluesy stuff, you know. It's just not. There's melody, but it's a different kind of melody than, say, an old song that was sung by Frank Sinatra. There's often very subtle changes in the melody. The chords sometimes change, and it's a whole different thing to interpret that on guitar. But I just love doing it, and I was told when I was younger that if you can play a chord melody song, meaning manifest a song without the rest of a band, you'll never starve. And I was taught that by jazz musicians, you have to rely on yourself first and be able to convey a song. And so that's the way I approach these things. I don't just listen to the guitar part. I remember having a conversation with Walter Becker years back, and I was kind of respectfully arguing with him about his solo in certain songs, especially "Home at Last" with Bernard Purdy on the drums. And I said, "That's such a brilliant solo. How long did that take you to write that song, that solo?" And he said, "Well, he said, it just came to me." And I'm like, there's no way. That's a scripted solo. It's a masterpiece. And I'm telling him this, and he's like, "No, it just came right off." And I'm like, "Okay, you are a genius beyond my comprehension, and I love you even more." But and I told him that I was taking all these Steely Dan songs, and like my good friend Stephen Baker in Jersey City, and we just have this geekiness about us, and take Steely Dan songs and play them on guitar. They're not meant to be played fully manifesting a whole song on guitar. These songs were written on piano. And he said, "Look, it's just a guitar. Why?" Walter Becker just told me, "Why? Just a guitar. Why are you trying to torture yourself with this? Just let it be a guitar." And again, I said, because oftentimes I'm playing gigs in restaurants or private parties, or maybe I just want to put my band on a break and play a Led Zeppelin song, and I want to be able to fully manifest it by myself. It's a whole different mentality. But all this leads me up to this year in pictures. And if you learn enough Steely Dan songs on guitar, you will end up in the local paper. And I'm so proud that I ended up in the local paper. I am one of the, I'm evidence of good imagery, or just imagery, not good imagery, because here's a flood on the top. So it's not really good, but I'm evidence of what went on in 2022. Look, I'm going to come in real close. See if you can see me there in my hat, in my beard, I've got old Roadkill with me. That's my guitar with only one pickup. A tuxedo, fully tuxedoed. This is in September. It says September, but I thought I played in August. But yeah, it was September, and it was hot as hell. It was the worst performing experience I had ever had in my life. Not because of where it was. I love Webster Groves, the town where I live in St. Louis. I'm very grateful for the employment, and I hope I continue to play there. But they had me in the hot sun, and of course I come out fully adorned in a tuxedo and a hat and everything, and I'm not going to change that because I've reported to work. I take my work seriously, and I was about to collapse, and I thought, well, if I don't garner their attention just via the music, I'm just going to get their attention when the emergency vehicle comes up to carry me away, because I'm about to collapse. And it was almost impossible to play, but I'm playing this swampy blues stuff, most of which came from the toil and hard times and let's just face it, just unabashed servitude of people in the South. A lot of this music came from that. I'm thinking, who am I to complain here? Playing a nice festival in a posh suburb of St. Louis, and my inner voice was just, shut the hell up, man. Just honor the music and play it. And I tried, and I ended up in the paper on the year in pictures. So there you go. Walter Parks. I am a touring musician. If you're new to what I do, I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida. I broadcast from St. Louis, Missouri, however, which is where I live. And it's a great music town. People come out and hear live music. Live music still exists as a thing. Musicians are paid. They travel there's a lot of clubs in town. So I say come to St. Louis and check it out. So it was the spawning ground of so much great jazz. I think jazz really started here. I'm sure some people would differ in that. And I think jazz kind of my opinion is jazz, the beginnings of jazz started with Scott Joplin, who's from here. In my opinion, he married classical music with this kind of ragtime feel, which would give rise to jazz way down the Mississippi, down in New Orleans. And so other great musicians who've come from the St. Louis area, Chuck Berry, Miles Davis, David Sanborn, Michael McDonald, the Doobie Brothers, and Steely Dan again. I mean, this is the epicenter of a lot of great Americana here, and I really hope that people come and visit us. We have a couple of guest rooms. If you come here with the intention of stealing my guitars, I will let loose my pit bull on you, and just I'll get a glass of wine and enjoy the bloodletting. And so come to see us, write us, and we'll go hear some music. We'll go play some music. I'm going to just see if I can do a little bit more Christmas things and end up. I feel like I'm almost at the hour mark. Am I? I'm beyond the hour mark. So I'm going to end with this one. I'm going to check my tuning. Behold, it needs to be in a low D. This is a story about a drummer. It's the little drummer boy. And this song was written in, you might think that this was played back then during the biblical times, but this song was written in 1941 by an American. Her name was, I don't know. It doesn't matter, really. I mean, it matters. That's what they're going to say about me. It doesn't matter what some bearded guy. I'm sorry that I don't know her name. It was a woman, and it was originally called The Carol of the Drum. And the concept was there was just this drummer boy out in the desert, and he heard about the birth of the new king, the new savior. King Herod, I think, was the king at the time. He didn't care much about Herod. He just cared about the Savior that was born, but he had no money to bring, no gift, but all he could do was play drums for this guy. Now, can you imagine a guy? I've been trying to get my drummer Jagoda to just go and give of himself. It's just like go into hair salons and so on and just set up a drum kit. And we are going to do that at some point. Just like, look, I can't give you anything, but I can play drums for you. Hair salon, or like an office supply store. Go into Kinko's, for instance. Just set up the drums, see how that goes. I don't think this is really going to work as a gift, because there's a sort of an adversarial relationship that people have with drummers. So, I mean, if you went to the manger and a woman had just given birth and said, look, I want to set my drum set up and play for you, they would call security. So, you know, I have a problem with some of these old biblical stories, but I mean, maybe this is not biblical. I think it wasn't. I think this is just some sort of something invented by the drum companies to sell drums. Nonetheless, I'm so happy. I love this song. I shouldn't be playing it because I'm a guitar player. Why didn't they call it The Little Guitar Boy? pretty cool, isn't it? It's a little swampy. I hope you don't perceive any irreverence in my treatments. Frankly, I don't give a damn if you do perceive irreverence in my treatments. So I shouldn't even say that sort of thing. Um, but I think propriety is important. Folks at least appear to care about other people's feelings, even when you really don't. That's how's that for an honest message this morning? Because I think I'm being serious here. This concept that we have to just lay bare our feelings and let everybody know what we're thinking. Um, the Europeans say that Americans are so fake sometimes because they go around and saying, "Oh, everything's great," and I'm sorry, but I have been a grump for probably the better part of my adult life, and I'm starting to realize that sometimes you can just bring people down just being real. Oh, I want to be so real. I want to tell you the way I'm feeling, and it's important for me. It's like, okay, just keep that to yourself, and the people who really know you can know how you feel. And if you want to have a real in-depth conversation about your feelings, then let's have a cup of tea and wine and really, really talk about it. And the people who really give a rat's are going to want to sit with you. And most people don't care to hear your true feelings and your true mood. So, um, it's okay to just put on a happy face. You don't have to manipulate and be phony, but, you know, a little positiveness is needed in this world. So I'm talking about a healthy balance. Who needs the Grinch, Who needs the Grinch? I want to say that feel like this is my best Christmas ever. And Margot has a photo prepared. When we're children, we get bicycles beside the tree, when I was a boy, I got models of the Apollo spacecraft. But as you can see here, we have a dog, and we have a dog for Christmas. Now, the problem is, or not problem, but this dog has been with us for almost 13 years. And I did not think that dog was going to be living and breathing here on Christmas Day. We were pretty darn sure that dog on Christmas Day would be ashes in a can. But we decided to take a leap of faith, and also based on intelligent research and weighing our odds, that this guy was worth a surgery to remove his cancerous tumors so that he could pee and poop and continue to live, and rolling the dice, hopefully another 2 years at least. I mean, he's 13. He's only going to live probably 15 if everything goes well. So we are so happy and feel so blessed that the doctors at Mizzou, they call it Mizzou. I don't know why they call it Mizzou, but I think it's the University of Missouri in the middle of the state, took on this case of our dog Thurston. And he had what they call an anal gland adenocarcinoma, which moved to his lymph nodes. And so we all know how this works. Cancer's hard to wipe out. We decided to go for it. Some people were going, and these are professionals. They were going, well, I don't know how you do this. I don't know how you do this. And I think it's going to do him more harm than good. And then I thought about that, and I thought, well, that's just one person's opinion. I need to find some people who've actually done this sort of operation. And I looked around, and there were some people I found in a college, the major college in Missouri, and they do this kind of operation once a week at least. And so we went for it. And Thurston is, for the moment, like a 6-year-old dog, and he's 13. So he is greeting us now he's greeting us. He wakes up for his 6 a.m. biscuit in the morning. He wags his tail. He eats all the time. He's doing all of these things that are worth paying for, to be honest. And so we put him through a little bit, but hopefully, uh, Lord willing, he's going to be with us another year or two, and and or more. And number, that's just the reason I feel like it's the best Christmas for me ever. But most importantly, I have a smiling wife who has headphones on, and she is the person twiddling the knobs during my shows, and she polishes all these ornaments on the trees, and each one of these little lights right here, she gets a little polisher out before we do that, and that's the kind of wife she is. She's just a stickler for 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 all things home, and I'm the luckiest man on the planet. She's a smart lady. She is. Can I tell them what you do? Uh, she runs the sound in the video. She doesn't want me to really tell you what she does. My wife is. Oh no, not that.
Well, I know what you're going to say. I'm
She's
scared.
she works for a company that books jazz cruises and out of St. Louis, but this is an international company. So if y'all like jazz music, it's called jazzcruisesllc.com. And this is a big time thing. You've got guys like Chris Bodie, Michael McDonald, Marcus Miller. This is not just um, unknowns. My wife is working with these artists. The first concert that I ever saw her produce with this company was George Benson on that level. So I'm so proud and impressed with her work. She's the director of marketing. And just if y'all, I'm going to try to go on one of those cruises in January. So I don't know if I'll be with you through January. We are gonna be here next week for New Year's, and then I'll let you know if I can be with you. I hope you've enjoyed your time with me today. Please sign up on YouTube because I want to meet Elon Musk. And like I said, if we get to 1,000 people, Elon Musk is going to knock on my door and give me some kind of a certificate. Um, and what else?
You had a lot of people with you today.
This was a fun visit. I really I love this Christmas stuff, and every year I kind of try to share my arrangements. And one of these days I'm going to make a record of some of this music, maybe with a jazz trio or that sort of thing. So I really appreciate you. Is there anything else I need to touch on, Margot, that maybe I forgot? Uh, Merry Christmas to everybody. Be kind. Don't be so grumpy. We want to be real, but let's be honest. Honesty and reality need to be kind of balanced with each other. I mean, your friends care, but don't wear your sorrows and all of that on your shoulder all the time. It's just we need the positive energy out in the world. I mean, there's a lot of friends, a lot of people in other parts of the world, namely Ukraine and so on, who are going through some really, really tough times. And Ukraine notwithstanding, we have problems right here in St. Louis. We have people who are in need, desperately need your help. You have folks in Newark, New Jersey. You have folks in every town in America. So I'm tired of preaching. I want to go drink some eggnog. Actually, I put eggnog. I have an IV hookup, and it just goes straight into my veins. And it's really. I don't mess around with. I just it's very direct and it's fantastic. You guys have a great holiday. Happy New Year. I'll see you next weekend, and I'll learn all lang syne by then. Bye bye.